Hello, everybody. Welcome back. We were not here last week because there was a good reason for it. Oh, Brittany and I spent the weekend in, well, where were we? Northeast Ohio.
Millersburg, Ohio.
Yeah, we were out way out there, and we drove back Monday, and we got back to the city here a couple hours after noon,
It's like three o'clock, I think.
Yeah, 3, 4 o'clock. And I'm going to be honest with you. After that weekend of 4 days with a whole bunch of family and uproariously loud children and activities all day long, we were wore out. So we're like, yeah, I don't have the energy to be doing this blacksmithing thing.
Well, and keep in mind, you only knew about 5 to 10% of those people.
That's a very fair point. And if y'all couldn't hear her, because I don't even know if their microphone's on. She said I only knew 10% of those people, or some percentage, I've already forgotten. But yeah, I knew of the 25 people that were there.
I 40 something.
Were there really that many?
Between all the kids?
Oh, I guess the kids do tip those numbers. I was talking about people.
They are people.
But yeah, there was 40 people there, and I knew maybe 6 of them going into the place. So that was a lot. It was a good time. It was a lot of fun, especially for families watching. I had a blast. Can't wait till the next one. But yeah, we were just wore out by the time we got back to the city. And Miss Brittany was flying Tuesday morning to Texas. So we're like, yeah, no, let's have a night where we just sit on the couch and watch Amazing Race and eat junk food. And that's exactly what we did.
Eventually. We got it. I did pack first, which was a whole other mess.
That's fair. I watched Friends while she was packing. So, I got more relaxation than she did. But nonetheless, which that brings us to our project, which is funny because the last stream, I mentioned on the next one, we're going to do a fire poker. This was a practice one we did earlier when I was teaching Brittany how to do it. So, it's funny, while we were at the place we were at, her cousin, was that a cousin? What was he? I don't want to say his name because internet. The dude that has
it could have been my stepbrother or it could have been a
cousin. Short beard. He's got the pot barrel stove in his living room that he uses to heat his house.
Oh, yep.
Cousin. Yeah. I just didn't want to say his name. I know your name if you're watching. I just didn't want to say it on the internet.
I don't think I was there for that conversation.
You were not. But
yeah, I know who you're talking about.
He was lamenting to the fact that fire pokers have a really long pointy bit before the hook. But he has a short wood stove in his living room, and the pointy bit gets to the back before he can hook what he wants to hook. And I was like, well, hell, dude, I can just make you one. That won't take long. We'll see. So yeah, it just happened to work out that he needs a thing that we were going to demonstrate anyways. In retrospect, you should have texted him and told him to watch the stream tonight. He may have enjoyed that.
He is anti-technology.
But I don't blame him. So anyways, we're going to make a fire poker that's got kind of a nubby point, but still a useful hook. So that's what we're going to make tonight. Tonight's cigar, what is it? It's a cargo, which is basically a no-name whatever. I don't even know who makes it, but they're yummy, and you can usually get them pretty cheap, so they're nice to have in the humidor. So, when making a fire poker, I personally like to start with the handle in, because that's easier to hold on to while you're working the other side. I could do the pointy with the hook and all that stuff, but now I have to hold on to a point and a pointy hook while I work the other side. So I'd just rather work the handle. So we're going to just knock this down into a pointy taper and put a little curly cue on it, put a handle on it. Do I have any? Oh, there we go. Throw things on the floor, don't we? So if you'll look here, we're going to do a handle kind of sort of like that. This is one of the practice runs that Brittany did when she was working on them. So yeah, we're going to try and replicate that kind of hook. We'll see where we go with it. So if you're a headphone user, protect your ears. Got it. So yeah.
What were you just doing there?
That's exactly what I was getting ready to explain. So, yeah, it's all good. So what I was doing there was, it's a round stock. It's a 1/4-inch round bar. Cold rolled or hot rolled, I don't care. I don't know what it is. But nonetheless, I was making it square, and I still had a little bit of heat left over, so I started drawing the taper down, and then I ran out of heat, and then I stopped. So, yeah, much like drawing down a taper, you make it square, you draw it down to as pointy as you want it, then you make it round again. If you just try to taper that metal down as a circle, it'll actually start to fish lip on you, and it's kind of funny. We'll jump to the other camera here. It kind of will look like that, but all the way around. And it sucks. Sometimes, if it's not very deep, you can forge it out to the tip once you square it and forge it down properly. Sometimes you can just forge it out to the end and you're fine. Most of the time, you just have to go over to the grinder and zap on the grinder and grind that off, or get the saw out and chop it off, or hot cut it. But either way you go, it's not something you want to work with, so just do it right the first time. Which is a struggle for me when blacksmithing. Are you saying something?
No.
While we're waiting for this to heat up, I'm going to adjust the air just a little bit because it's going a little slow for my taste. Mr. Levi.
Yes, sir.
Any comments, questions in the old chats or for yourself?
Oh, no, not yet.
Fair enough. I came up with a silly premise for a conversation earlier, and I don't know how far this is going to go. So we'll just see how it goes. If you had to be the star singer of an album, musical album, I'll add that detail so I don't get lost in pedantic details. You have to be the singer of a musical album, all covers, no original songs. What songs would you want to do on that album? Also, is your microphone on so it doesn't just sound like I'm talking to myself?
Yeah, the microphone's on. It still makes it sound a little bit tinny. I would probably do Angel of the Night for my first one, just because that's iconic nostalgia for me. I'd probably toss Blurry on there because that again is a very big song from my youth that I like a lot. Not that I can sing it well, but I like the song.
Oh yeah, nobody cares how well the album sounds. You just have to produce it. And so for those of us who don't know those songs, what was the song and the original artist? Or at least the artist you prefer of those songs?
Well, Angel of the Night or Angel of Music is Andrew Lloyd Webber. Nightwish does a fantastic version of the song, but it's technically an opera song.
Fan of the opera?
Blurry is by Puddle of Mud.
Puddle of Mud, I love that.
Right?
I love that you're going from opera to Puddle of Mud.
No, I love
That's
that.
my favorite part.
But for me, that's a hard left turn. Like, I expected opera or something kind of weird like that. But Puddle of Mud being your second choice, that's a hard left turn for me.
So, I don't know how many hours I spent playing Ace Combat 5 Shattered Skies on the PlayStation 2, but it was a very integral song to
That brings it.
soundtrack.
That makes it make sense now.
So
Thank
it's
you.
really stuck in my head, and it's a good song.
Let's do 3. Well, it's going to be a short album. And while you think of that third one, we're going to make some papers over here.
All right.
So, headphone people, heads up. Third song.
Third song, I'll go If You'll Buy That by George Strait.
I don't know if I know that song.
I feel like if you'll buy that
I have oceanfront property
in Arizona.
Okay, maybe.
Yeah, that's a great song. That's a weird mix, dude. I dig it though. Like I'd listen to that album.
Right?
I mean, we got microphones. So. All right, Brittany, what are you doing? What's on your album?
I feel like you already have a pretty good idea of where I'm gonna go with this. So Hymn to Virgil by Hozier. Good
Yeah.
solid song.
I'm here for it.
The next one is probably gonna be Mess by Noah Kahn.
Which one's Mess?
I don't know if I played that for you, but it's one of my favorites.
I listened to them by myself.
Okay. That or Maine. Maine is another good one by Noah Kahn.
No, that is a good song. I do enjoy that.
And the last one, I think would have to be Fancy by Reba. I love Reba.
I love that.
I grew up listening to that song. It does not matter what kind of mood I'm in. If that song comes on, I'm singing it.
Yeah, that's not a song you can quietly listen to. You have to belt that one out with Reba the whole time.
But like a lot of Garth Brooks songs are like close contenders.
Yeah, it's hard for me to think of 3 songs and not use Garth for one of them. Like, I'm having to stretch. For me, I think I would start off with a version of Wagon Wheel that's closer to Darius Rucker's Wagon Wheel as opposed to Old Dirty Crow or Old something Crow something.
My brain went to Old 10 String Band and I was like, that's part of
That's part of the song. No, there's a band called like Dirty Crow or Crow something that they do a beautiful version. I just like Darius's version better. I think the acoustic version of Everlong would be on my album. And like the third one I'm straying, like I would just jump to like Nobody Gets Off in This Town by Garth Brooks because nobody knows that song. It's a B-side song from like 92. Like nobody knows that song, but it's probably one of my favorites of his. But yeah, if it couldn't be Garth, I don't know what necessarily the third one would be.
When you limited it to 3 songs, I was like, oh, I have so many songs in my head right now. It's so hard to choose.
Good one to put on for commentary about our current political situation would be The Fine Print by Stupendo.
I don't know that song. Before we get into that, though, I think it's time to work this taper a little bit more. It's taking more burns than I'm used to make a taper. I think it's because my anvil's super cold and sucking all the heat out. To alleviate a cold anvil, lots of people, it's not something I've done, but lots of people will get a sacrificial piece of metal and get it hot in the forge and then just set it on the anvil and let the anvil suck the heat out of that piece and thus warm up the anvil.
And you still have that hammerhead in the propane forge?
I was just getting ready to say, had I thought of that before we got started, I would have done that while we were setting up. I would have warmed up the anvil. But unfortunately, I did not think of that until literally just now when I was talking about the anvil being cold. But earlier today when I was sitting in a meeting that I was totally paying attention to, and I got thinking about what would that album be. Like I came up with 3 songs like that, and now I can only remember one of the original 3 that I came up with, which was the Wagon Wheel. I came up with another one that was like, oh, that'd be so much fun to do, and now I can't remember what it was. Take It Easy, the Eagles. That would be so much fun to do.
So
Who does the Pop Goes Punk version of Lollipop? That'd be a fun one to do.
I know the song, like I can hear it in my head, but yeah, I'm not sure who that is. That would be fun. Yeah.
As the album expanded, I think it would be very hard for me to not do an Eminem song, which I know I'm not Eminem, and I probably shouldn't be rapping. But it's my album. I can put what I want on it. It'd probably be Without Me by Eminem, probably.
As someone that has heard you rap lots of Eminem, yeah, that seems about there.
I thought you were getting ready to say, like, yeah, don't do that.
Probably the closest I'd get to that would be something by Everlast, like maybe Black Coffee.
I'd love to do, like, Crazy Rap by Afro Man. That'd be a lot of fun, too.
Oh my gosh, it was so funny. So, I don't know how well people on the microphone can hear me, but I was in Texas for work, and we went to a dueling piano bar, our last night, like full night there. And, people go up, request songs, and Crazy Rap was one of the songs that came on. He was like, I'm so sorry if HR is here. And then followed up with like, actually, because HR is here, I'm not gonna say the words. You guys have to fill in the blanks. So it just turned into all of us screaming.
So, like, but she whipped out that was bigger than mine. Like,
Yep.
he, like, self-censored himself.
Oh, and he missed it a few times because you can tell that he was excited to do that song. But I also don't think that he, like, either the pianist expected to play any songs like that.
Like, if I were to do that song, there's only one word I would skip over. Like, if I'm going to have the chutzpah to step up in front of my coworkers and be like, all right, I'm going to sing Crazy Rap, enjoy. There's only one song I would skip over, and that's the referring to the woman he has relations with in Iowa. I would skip some of the words there. But yeah, the rest of it, y'all would just have to cringe at me doing the rest of it. What do you got, Levi?
So Rob has sent us a few messages. He exclaims, less yak yak and more whack whack. Preheating the anvil is BS. Roy Adams forge welded material on an ice anvil.
Say that last one again for the people in the back.
Roy Adams forge welded material on an ice anvil.
Well, Rob, when I see you on Thursday, I need to hear this story. I want to know, because that's pretty wild. And I'd like to see that if there's video of that.
I'm saying video or it didn't happen.
He's probably just being grouchy with us because this guy's already put out albums, so he doesn't want to hear about our make-believe ones. He does real ones. All right, let's work this taper, and I think I got enough heat in here because of all the yak yak. We might be able to round this off while we're doing it. So headphone people, I'm sorry, but you've been warned.
They should honestly know what to expect by now.
I would hope so. We got most of the way around on that. So we'll do another heat or two to make sure it's pretty.
So, follow-up question to the album's question.
Yeah.
And you cannot use a song that you used for the album.
All right.
Go to a karaoke song.
I have only done karaoke once in the entirety of my life, and it was at the Eagles Club in Beach Grove when I was 19 years old. And I just met that night. I don't know how she did it, but she talked me into singing karaoke with her. I don't know how she talked me into it. And we stood up to the microphone, and my sister and my sister's best friend stood behind us, and they did like dancing, and they kind of sang along with the chorus a little bit just to like make it a real production. And we did "I Will Survive" by Gloria Gaynor.
But is that your choice for like if you had to pick a karaoke song?
I wouldn't submit people to have to listen to me singing karaoke.
We're not talking about that.
But it would have to be a song I would know without having to read the words along to it. Nobody Gets Off in This Town by Garth Brooks. Because there's not a lot of singing that goes on.
No, because you used that for the album.
But it wasn't part of my 3, though. Alright, so then what would I do? Mr. Blue by the Fleetwoods. Or Garth Brooks, he did that song too. But Mr. Blue.
Levi?
If I had to do a karaoke song, I'd probably do Moments in a Year from Rent.
It's a good one.
Huh. Alright. Whack, whack. Making things round. Square, octagon, round. That is pretty round. I don't know if you can really tell, but it kind of looks like a freshly sharpened pencil. There's a few ridges and valleys in there. I think I'd like to do one more just to clean that up. So, Miss Brittany, what would be your karaoke if you had to go karaoke right now? That you haven't karaoke'd before, because I know you do that way more than we do.
I've only done that like once. So I can't pick a song I've already done?
Yes.
Well, that rule didn't apply to either of you. That's great.
Well, you have to answer with a handicap because you have more experience than we do.
I don't have that much experience. I goes immediately to Hamilton. I would have.
You could have a bar of so many confused people.
Oh no. Yeah. Or well, goes to Hamilton or Wicked, but I think
I'd like to see you karaoke Defying Gravity.
Oh,
God,
Popular.
No. Hard pass. Ooh, Popular would be so much fun. So much fun. I think I would have to go Guns and Chips.
Oh, that's
Hamilton. The rap. The really fast rap.
Go see Rochambeau to consolidate gifts and all that stuff.
Pink and red coats spread with blood stains. Not it. Yep.
That's America's favorite fighting Frenchman.
Yes. It's true because of his other music.
Hey Levi, you want to kill that door?
So originally I was gonna go with the last song that I actually did sing karaoke to, which was Mr. Brightside.
That would be fun to watch. All right, let's make this rounder. that tip hot and roll her over. And then we'll do the handle bit.
You wanna tell the people about the exciting things that are gonna be happening in the store soon?
Yeah, the cat is out of the bag.
Once I get my stuff figured out.
So it's a little cold over in my corner today. Train of thought. Oh, so a couple of weeks ago, 2 free streams ago, I made a comment that here coming shortly, maybe sometimes around the February timeframe, we might start gearing up to add shirts to the Etsy shop. Because I've had lots of people like send me texts like, hey, I want a Brimstone shirt. Or people talk to me in real life and they're like, hey, when can I get one of those shirts like you wear on your stream? Not this one, obviously. I got this at somewhere else. And so it's like, well, those shirts I made for us, you know, but people keep asking for them, so we're going to add shirts to the store. And yeah, that was a moment where it's like, oh, hey, this is something I could talk about. And I didn't even think that A, Brittany was in the room, B, her birthday's in February, 3, she knows her birthday's in February, and D, she's been talking about wanting to get a Cricut and playing with all that stuff. So I'm like, hey, we might be adding shirts. She was like she pepped up from her phone, like, wait, what? And so I let the cat out of the bag. So somebody got their birthday present early. So once she gets that all sorted, shirts and stickers and whatnot will probably be added to the shop.
So not to throw everybody off track, but I'm rather annoyed you went from Alpha to numeric in that list.
You're welcome. That was purposeful. I was proud that I hit D at the right slot instead of throwing out a different letter there. So yeah, you're welcome for that, Levi. That was just for you.
Probably saw my face shading when I heard you do that.
I saw you kind of curl into yourself a little bit. It's also a very subtle nod to the first Home Alone movie, where Buzz, the bully older brother, does 1B3 when he was describing reasons why he was going to beat up Kevin or whatever it was. What did I say I was going to do? Oh, we're going to do a little curly Q on this thing here. We'll make it kind of big because why not? There we go, nice little curl. Why not? I need to move my heat down some so I can start working that handle in there. Now I've only done a handle like this a couple of times. So we'll see if I nail it on the first try or if I have to do it a couple of times to get the proportions right. We will just have to see. So yeah, stickers and hats maybe. And I personally would love to get a Brimstone hoodie. I think that'd be great. So those are all on the list. Brittany just has to get on it.
I told him last night, since he came up with the Excel sheet with all the blacksmithing projects this week, I'm gonna have my own Excel sheet, and you're not gonna be invited to it because it's gonna be taken over by Brimstone projects, and I want to do other.
I'm going to crank up this heat to try and burn out some of the smoke and try and get it up the chimney. So I'm going to take my piece out of the fire for just a minute. That way we don't fill the shop with a whole bunch of smoke. Because it's already cold in here enough and I don't want to have to open the doors. That didn't help, but you know, we can do. So yeah, we'll see how that plays out.
Just be patient because I am new.
Yeah, it's gonna be a process to get it all sorted out and figured out and all that stuff.
Need lots of trips to Bloomington.
Probably. And yeah, and also we're gonna bump up the amount of content we pour out onto the internets. I'm going to endeavor to try and put out like 2 shorts a week, and it's starting to warm up a little bit, so I, will want to come out here more. So, on like Sundays, I'm going to shoot like a medium format video. So, like, in an example, Sunday I'd come out, turn on the cameras, do a quick intro, like, hey, I'm going to make a whatever, like a fire poker, and I'm just going to shut up and listen to music and make a fire poker, cut it all up, and then just do a voiceover explaining the steps and the processes. And then Monday it would be like, hey, let's make a fire poker. It's going to look like this. And so just generating more content. So that's a goal. We'll see how well we do.
We are starting to look.
Rob's asking when you're going to afford some hammer eye tongs.
Never. Unless you want to walk me through it, Rob.
Yeah, Rob, come guest forge.
Who want guest stars on this?
I don't know if Rob would want to drive down to be a guest star in my tiny little shop when he's got a huge, beautiful shop
Oh, I'm sure
up
he'll
where
take
he
over.
lives. I don't know if he'd want to drive all the way down here and slum it.
You might want to mute and turn on the fan for a minute. It's getting pretty smoky.
Yeah, she's off this
I'll
one.
crack the door again.
It's not so bad over here.
Yeah, it's really kind of building up on the left-hand side.
That's not helping. Yeah, if you want to crack that door. Got a nice warm fire going on over here, though. But heck, we could, like, trains of thought are colliding. So let me just, we could take the gimbal and you could go with me and you could hover around and shoot me and Rob making hammer eye tongs in his shop, post that video.
I mean, technically, you could take these and just record it and upload it later.
I'd have to connect to his Wi-Fi and like reconfigure all that, but we could do it.
Doesn't her phone do a hotspot?
I don't know. We'd still have to reconfigure the Wi-Fi settings because it's programmed for mine right now.
Yeah.
Well, and even then, the hotspot drains my battery quicker, so.
But we
Yeah,
could
certainly
connect to his Wi-Fi and use these cameras.
Wait for him to pop up like, king.
I did suggest to him one time, and he didn't hate the idea. I kind of expected him to laugh at me. But there's a few of us that all like to do like live streams. I think most of them just do it from their phone, which is totally cool. Rob has nice cameras and a soundboard and kind of similar to my setup, but nicer. But I came up with the idea of all of us that like to do the live stream, let's all go fill his shop, set up our cameras on a different anvil, because he's got enough anvils and fires and stuff, that 3 or 4 of us could set up our own streams. And at one point we all line up all the cameras and we all stand. It's like, okay guys, we're going to make a doohickey. Let's do it. And then we all move our cameras to our own workspaces and then we all simultaneously live stream from his shop. I thought that'd be a fun thing to do.
Yeah.
And he was on board with it too. Like, I thought he was going to laugh at me for that
Do a
idea.
live stream camera event? That'd be awesome.
Pretty much.
And you could have, like, his live stream, you could all funnel to it and then just have breakout pictures. And then on your own personal ones, you can have the bigger thing
We're
going.
going to make it like a live event kind of thing.
I can run around with the gimbal and
Shoot everybody. Yeah. I think it'd be fun. And I pitched it to him. I was expecting him to laugh, and he seemed to be on board with the idea. I think he's doing a hammer in May.
He's saying May 17th, let's do it.
May 17th. So, yeah. So, Corbin, if you're watching, I don't know if you've ever watched my live stream. Who else? Oh, man, what's that dude's name? Oh, Greg? I'm so terrible with names. Like, let's all go to Rob's shop and fire up our cameras. Be nerdy blacksmiths for a day.
a day.
Well, the other guys aren't nerds. They're like legit blacksmiths that just happen to do the live stream thing. Rob and I are in IT, and so is Paul. So, we're always nerdy to some extent. But yeah, you said 17th, May 17th?
Yep.
So May 17th, hammering at Rob's. Let's do it. Up at Sharp Bend to Forge, which it's fun when you go up there. You're like following your GPS and you drive down some really sharp bend roads. Oh, that hits. That's how we got his name. But you show up and all you see is like a graveyard. Like, what? And then you realize that what looks like the entrance for the graveyard is actually his driveway. And when you look past the driveway, you see his nice house and his big shop and stuff. It's like, oh. The first time I went out there is when I drove my Dodge. I used to have a D-bag edition of the Dodge Ram. It was lifted, the tires were pushed out. It had limo tent all the way around, including the windshield. And it was so incredibly stressful leaving his shop in the middle of the night. It's pitch black out there, and I've got a tinted windshield. It was a very stressful event trying to get out of there. All right, let's bend this thingy down and see what happens. So basically what you want to do is bend this out about 45 or so. Or so. Let's get twisted, but I think we'll be okay. So then we get it hot again. And I'll grab this other piece and explain what I'm talking about. So basically when you do that first bend, you want to get that angle there. So you basically want to bend to like the bottom of the handle, and then you work the other side to come back and meet it, and that's how that works.
I'm guessing this was in reference to the graveyard, but he says best neighbors ever.
Yes, that is in reference to the neighbors. They're very quiet, and they don't complain about the noise from his shop, so it works out nicely for them. And they don't accuse him of cutting down their trees.
As long as they don't trespass too much.
Too much?
Depends on what you're into.
So what, they can walk through the yard and that's fine, but if they come up on the porch, that's too much?
Exactly.
Not much you can do about it. They're already dead.
Alright, let's bend this around and see how that works out. I can already feel this going off a little bit, but we can get there. Not great, but we can fix that. You know what? That's awfully small. I don't like that. We're going to go bigger. Well, that didn't work like I expected it to. Alright, let's get it hot and do that again. Let's do small of a handle. I want to give the guy a bigger handle than that. So, we'll straighten that back out and fix it.
So is this for my cousin? Or is this just for puppies?
Since he's got just like a small wood-burning stove, and it's not like a fire pit or like one of those smokeless ones that you'd put on the porch, I don't think it needs to be a big chunky piece. And especially if he's working with limited space, going something smaller might be a little bit easier for him.
I just wasn't sure if it was for him or if it was just.
Yeah, I think if this turns out nice, we will wax the handle and then throw it in like a poster tube and ship it to him. But enjoy.
Trying to think of the next time I might see him, we can just give it to him.
Do you have his address by chance?
I could get it.
Without him knowing? Because I think it would be funny.
I could probably, I could message his wife and get it. Be like, this is a surprise for your husband from Jesse.
Yeah, I think it'd be funny to not tell him about it and just ship it to him. He'd be like, what the heck is this? And he pops it open and he's like, holy man. Might be a nice surprise for him.
But I might have their address saved.
I'll bet you your brother has it from sending them wedding invites.
Yeah, probably.
So yeah, like surprise package shows up at his house. He cracks it open, and then
I mean,
go ahead.
Mom and Andy definitely have it.
Yeah, send him a nice little note like, "Hey, you wanted a better Firepoker? Here you go."
Handmade.
And then when he texts you and says, "Hey, thanks for the Firepoker," you can respond with the link to this video. Enjoy.
Here's how it was made.
This cigar is hitting a stall point. I might make myself a cigar tool real quick to clean it up some. Do I have any scrap of 1/8 floating around here somewhere?
That's all quarter inch.
No, there's 1/8 down there.
Looks like your shortest is about a 2-foot stick. Do you want it?
No, that's too much. I was hoping there was like a. That's quarter. That's quarter. Ooh, that's a quarter. Is this also quarter? Dang it. Oh, we'll use one of these. This is the cutoff from the piece I'm using. No wonder it's the same size.
Funny how that works out.
Who saw that coming? Yeah, we're going to do down a little bit more. It's funny. On camera and off camera, the three of us joke about how we make so many penny scrolls around here, and like on the channel, we've done so many. Where like when me and Levi were doing the lantern hooks for your lightsaber and stuff, and we do so many penny scrolls. And a good buddy of mine, he's like, "Hey, I want to put a coat rack in my garage." He's turning his garage into like a man cave kind of thing. He's got all his brewing equipment and his kegerator out there and stuff. He's like, "I want a coat rack on the wall, and I was hoping you could make me some of those cool hooks that you did that's got the spiral at the top." Like, all right, I'll do some more penny scrolls because that's all I do. But yeah, so I don't know if I'm going to do it as like a live stream thing or maybe a medium format or just cut some clips while I'm doing it for like a short or something. But yeah, I'm going to have to make like 5 garment hooks with penny scrolls on it. He's going to put it on a nice piece of wood and hang it up on the wall so he can hang his coat and hoodie and hats and stuff on it.
Sounds like a good plan.
So that garage is something else.
So nice.
So nice.
It's insane. It used to look like a garage. Like he had woodworking tools in there. He had this big wooden cabinet with his laser engravers and stuff on it. It looked like a garage. And we used to sit out there and in like lawn chairs and smoke and have a few drinks and whatnot. And now it no longer has a cement floor. It has like a wood laminate floor. He's repainted the walls, reorganized it, and now it looks like somebody's living room, minus the couch. Like, it's insane how much he's turned that around.
It's awesome.
He was very helpful in getting my kegerator up and running. We just got that going Saturday, so that was super fun. I, via a game of chance, I acquired a full-size keg of my absolute favorite cider, which is Magners. They make it in North Ireland. And so through this game of chance, I acquired a full keg of it. Like, well, I can't just use like one of those party taps because then it goes bad in like 24 hours, and I can't drink 130-ish pints of cider in 24 hours. And so, yeah, I got a nice kegerator and got that up and running.
See me.
Yeah, yay, Brittany, for hooking that up. Again, I'm just going to. Well, I think we can start this. Why not? It's going to be a huge handle on it. I think that might give us something nice.
Well, and knowing this is the reason why I asked if you were making it for this particular cousin. Auto opener on that would be a bad idea.
Unfortunately, I don't think it's got enough meat on the bone to do that. But it's supposed to be nice this week, like in the 40s or something. So maybe like Wednesday, I'll sneak back out here, and then I'll just make him like a horsehead bottle opener or something that he can use.
You can always make a flat one and then pour it all down into the handle.
Potentially.
I'm just watching the camera too. Juice.
Yeah, I haven't figured out how to make that less. I put a doodad on it that's supposed to be a shock thingy, but I think that's just making it worse. Like it's giving it more room in which to wiggle around. The problem is probably this tire and stuff. I wonder if I made like a wood log like stump or something that holds the anvil. I wonder if the wood would absorb more of it than what I got going on here.
I mean, it wouldn't be too hard to open up the floor right there and we can pour a post into the ground.
Why does everybody want to cut holes in my new shop? I don't want to cut any holes in my shop yet. But the thing is, I have a very, very bored retired father who likes to do a lot of carpentry stuff. So if I measure up how tall this is, because I like the height, and say, hey Dad, make me a real nice, cool doodad to stand it on, he'd probably do it for me.
Given how this space is constructed, there's not really going to be any way of avoiding the reverberation bounce on other things if you're smacking something that's attached to the floor.
That's fair, but it may help. So at least it cool it down a little bit. Probably suspend the anvil with some bungee cords from the ceiling.
It's gonna be a hard pass for me.
No, I want to see this. I want to see this.
I'm gonna stay inside and work on
T-shirts?
just play on my cricket. It's not gonna be t-shirts for that kind of nonsense.
Let that cool off a little bit before I stick it in my cigar. Yeah, not too big and not bite enough. It's just not my night for this kind of thing. I know how to fix that. We'll just make some adjustments.
I was expecting Rob to tell you to get it hot.
Well, I was just doing some adjusting. I wasn't trying to forge too much. I was just trying to. I had twisted it a little bit, so I was just trying to correct that a little bit and get it set up for this next heat where I'll put that dip back into it and make it look nice.
Kind of hard to quench stuff under bucket ice.
This is a fact. That's still pretty warm. What's fun is in the summertime that won't be a problem.
Right?
Yeah, the only thing at that point that we're gonna have to worry about is him chopping pieces up and flying into the quench bucket.
Who would do that? That doesn't sound like anything I would ever do.
That's cute.
Fixed it.
I'll put a handle on that real quick and then hang it off when the rest is on the forge. So you got it.
I feel like that's awfully long for that.
I don't know.
But I could cut it down and put a handle on it.
I mean, you could practice the handle that you're currently trying to make.
Thank you. I can't tell you how many of those I've made though. Especially when I used to spend my weekends up at Paul's shop making stuff with him. I'd be smoking a cigar and it wouldn't work right, so then I'd forge a quick taper, fix it, and then that would usually get turned into something else while I was there. Ooh. A little hot. I don't like the looks of that at all. That ain't bad. I'll get that top pot and then kick that back a little bit and it'll be alright. There we go. Levi, rapid answer if you're not allowed to think about it. You have to turn a book into a movie that hasn't already been made into a movie and is not in production of becoming a movie. What book do you do?
He Who Fights with Monsters.
Give us the basic plot.
It's a lit RPG book that has a lot of situational humor and general sarcasm. And basic isekai person gets transported to another world. And you have leveling and magic and all that good jazz, so he goes about learning that and trying to get back home, and then gets back home and realizes he doesn't like being home anymore, and then tries to figure out how to get back to the other world, and so on and so forth. We're on like 11, 12 books now. It's a pretty solid series. I'm enjoying it. It's lighthearted enough to be funny, but it has enough serious points to keep you interested.
Brittany, you're up.
Oh, I have to think.
You're not allowed to. That's the point. It's a knee-jerk reaction. What was the first thing you thought of when I pitched it to him?
A book that's currently in production.
Not
That's
in a
what I'm
movie
saying.
production. Oh, is it currently in a movie
It's
production?
not a movie production, it's in TV production.
Close enough. But you know what? I did say movie production. So
Love that for me. Fourth Wing, without a doubt. It also is super helpful that I'm like currently rereading the first two books before I start the third, which should have been delivered today. So I'm really excited.
was that not the package that showed up today that I handed to you?
No, because it's being delivered to the other address.
Oh, womp womp.
Yeah. So the premise of it is, it's a war college, and there are different quadrants in this war college. So there are scribes who.
Is that the book we were listening to in the car ride to Ohio?
Yeah. So there are different quadrants. So like the scribe quadrant records history. The healer quadrant, obviously the healers, there's an infantry, that's just kind of your basic general army sort of deal. And then there's the riders quadrant, which are dragon riders. And
So RIDERS, not WRITERS.
And it basically goes through this girl who starts off super weak. She's actually the general's daughter. Starts off super weak, and then is trained, and it's a fantasy romance kind of novel. Really, really good. It's like kind of an obsession right this second. But
Nice.
War College battles, dragons, other mythical things, and it is currently in the process of being turned into a TV show, but there's been literally no information given about it. We know that there's a script,
But nobody's attached, no producers are attached or anything.
I mean, yeah, the author of the book has read the script, so that's about as much as I know about it. Very good book. There was a particular scene that when I heard it, when I was reading the book the first time through, I was driving and I came across a particular scene and had to pull over on the side of the road because I was crying so hard about what had happened. And then, so I reread that same part like Thursday or Friday night, like this past Thursday or Friday night. Cried just as hard, if not harder, even though I knew
You already knew what was going to happen and it still hit you?
Yeah. It is a very good book, very well written. It's a problem.
I'm enjoying this series. I have not gotten the third book yet, but I probably will soon.
Where are you then? Have you read the first book?
Several times.
It was funny because when Jesse picked me up from the airport, it was supposed to be the third book was supposed to be delivered to me Saturday, and so he picked me up from the airport and like the day before. I was like, "Can we stop at the other place?" So I came grab the book and it hadn't been delivered yet. So sad. I was like, "Why didn't you just deliver it to the house?" And I was like, "Because I pre-ordered it as soon as there was an announcement that it was going to be available for pre-order, and we were to take other than that. It's been so long." So yeah, I did not anybody that's watching. That is the pulling down the side of the road and the stopping in the middle of the night. So I started the second book. My sister-in-law is reading the third book, and she said that when she hit about 30%, like it just flew by. She went from like 30% of the book to 80% of the book done super, super quick. So I can kind of see you on camera right now with what you're doing. You want to explain the whole
All I was
process
doing.
for what you were going to do for people who don't know?
Oh, yeah. So my quench bucket is frozen. So I set this on the ice, and then the thudding, you heard me try to hammer it through the ice. There's not a lot to go on about there. So yeah, I'm just trying to quench this down so I can touch it to forge it. So there wasn't a whole lot of anything going on there.
Man, first time watching it, I might not realize what you're doing.
It'll be all right. All right, so we got a handle. Have a paper towel real quick. I got paint chips on me from that bucket.
I would say the depending on how far it's how long it's been since you read. Apparently, it's a good idea to do a read on it.
I generally do that. But you don't have a new book comes out in the series.
Yeah, like she said for the first like 7 chapters, she had no idea what was going on. So I should just.
How do you read a book that for the first 7 chapters you have no idea what's going on,
Well,
and you keep reading it?
You have to think about it though. The book before that, like, had been out for a year and a half, 2 years before the 3rd book was even announced. So like.
So Rob has chimed in with his recommendation, and he says the Halfling's Gem.
The Halfling's Gem? I've not heard of that.
Neither have I.
I'm going to have to look it up later.
Details, Rob?
For me, the answer is pretty obvious. I don't read a lot of fiction, and this has nothing to do with good or bad or, saying it's good or bad, but fiction just doesn't hold my attention. I get bored with it. I mostly prefer autobiographies and historical recounts and stuff. But they've been teasing us for years. We almost got a movie. We almost got a TV show. I think COVID happened and that set it back. But for decades, they've been trying to figure out how to do, or at least the legal part of doing the Amber Chronicles in a movie. And that wasn't getting any traction. And then I think in 2018 they started, or 2019 they started trying to turn it into like a TV series. And then COVID happened, and then everyone just gave up on it. So
it'd be awesome if one of the high-end anime studios took that over.
I don't want to see it as an anime though.
You would rather see it live action?
I would prefer a live action. Like to see, love them or hate it, Peter Jackson did a great job of bringing The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings to life. So I think he would be the right guy to tap for Chrono of Amber, or the Amber Chronicles.
I need to finish. I'll finish my reread of Iron Flame and then read Onyx Storm, and then I will tab into.
So, general plot line of the Amber Chronicles. There's 9 princes, obviously. That's the first book, 9 Princes of Amber. 9 Princes of Amber. So there's 9 brothers in total. And then there's a couple of sisters in there. I can't remember. There's like 2 or 3 sisters in there. And the father, the king of Amber, has gone missing for a long time. And it's not uncommon for him to disappear for a few years. He's off hunting or off adventuring or doing something. But he's been gone for like 20 years and no one's heard from him at all. So they think, well, he might be dead or he might not ever come back. So who's going to take over Amber? Amber is a mythical place. It's in a different dimension than, where we live, kind of thing. And so Corwin, our hero, is the rightful heir of Amber, but his brother Eric wants to be the king. And Corwin, the story starts off, Corwin waking up in a hospital. Both his legs are completely shattered and he has no idea what the heck happened. And every time he wakes up and asks questions about what happened, the nurse hits him with a needle and he passes out. And he wakes up a few days later. Hey, what happened? Jab. And so he finally gets out, and the story is about his path to regain his memory, regain his, we'll say abilities. I don't want to say powers. That feels disingenuous. But his abilities to go challenge Eric for the throne of Amber. It's a really cool book. The second one was hard to get through, though. I personally feel the first book should have been about 2, maybe 3 chapters longer. And then the third book should have been 2 or 3 chapters longer. And then just skip the second book altogether. All right, we're going to make round things square And then, what are we doing? Yeah, we're gonna do that. Forgot what I was making for a second. And I was just thinking of it. If you weren't to do The Chronicles of Amber as a movie, I would like to see. I'm good, thank you. I would like to see From a Buick 8 made into a movie. From a Buick 8 is Stephen King. There's a state trooper out doing his job, and he finds an old Buick Roadmaster sitting on the side of the road. And there's something weird about it, something not right about it, so he has it towed. There's no registration, no license plate, no information whatsoever about. But you can just close that door on your way out. You don't have to worry about tying it up. So the Buick is an old Buick Roadmaster, has no registration, no license plate, no identifying information. So basically what I'm doing here is I'm just going to take this down to about half the material after I got it squared up. And I'm just going to basically scarf it just a little bit because I'm going to fold it back in. Oh wait, no, this is, I'm doing it the other way. So yeah, I got to take this down to a point and then I'm going to fold it over and weld it. So yeah, I just got to taper that down to a point. Describing books and forgot what I was doing. So, are we on the right camera, Levi? I know you're split brained over there.
Yeah.
So yeah, so he takes the Buick, he has it towed back to the police station, and it's sitting in the garage. It's a small, like, state trooper outpost kind of thing. And he hears weird noises coming from the bay that it's in. And when he gets out there, like, the trunk is open. And he's like, what the heck? And it's so weird. Like, it's a great book. I read it back in high school. But basically, this car is like a portal to some other dimension. And, like, these weird bat things come flying out of the trunk. And he has to, like he gets into, like, a fist fight with the thing. Like, he's hitting it with brooms and, like, with his baton. And he tried shooting it, and it flew back into the trunk. And then, like, the next night, it came back out again, and he finally killed it. So then he set up a table to try and do an autopsy on it. And it turns into this whole thing. Like, monsters come out of the thing, and it's wild. It's a fun story. My first car was a Buick Electra station wagon in '87 that had a V8 in it. And one day, it was my birthday, and I come out of my house to go get in my car to drive to school. And when I opened the door, the book was sitting. Hey, saw this book, thought of you, bought it for you. So that's how I ended up with that book, and ended up reading it. It was a lot of fun. And I'd never given any interest in reading Stephen King. Like, I know he's a classic, yada yada yada. I just didn't have any interest in, because again, I don't read fiction. Oh, that's American. And that actually inspired me to read The Shining. But yeah, that encouraged me to read The Shining because I really enjoyed From a View of Gay. And The Shining was a great book too. But I think they already made that into a movie.
Yeah. Actually, been there, but I've at least been there.
I drank an elderberry cider sitting at the bar at that hotel. And then I went outside and they had a miniature hedge mage that was only about that tall. And I wandered around the hedge mage for a little while.
That's pretty cool.
I thought so.
About all I did was park, walk into the lobby. Interesting. Walked over to where the elevator scene was. Yep, this looks familiar. And went out.
You know the director of that movie? What's that kid's name? Danny? Is that the kid's name?
I don't remember.
The red rum kid?
Yeah.
He was like 8 or something when they shot that movie. And the director and whatnot didn't let the kid know it was a horror film. The kid just thought it was like a drama. And so he would give the kid direction of, oh, hey, just be scared here or be this there kind of thing. So they did their best to protect his innocence through the whole thing kind of thing. He didn't actually see the entire movie like until he was like 17 is when he finally like, oh, this is a horror movie that I was in, which I think that's funny.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah. Makes me think of Gene Wilder and the kid from Willy Wonka, the Chocolate Factory. Gene Wilder used to have lunch with that kid like every day, and was always bringing him snacks. And they were always goofing off behind, offset and just having a really good time. And they formed a really close bond. And the kid didn't know at the end when he's like, "You get nothing," and loses his, crap on the kid. Kid didn't know that was coming. So the kid, like, this is my friend, this is my buddy, and I have a scene with him, and he walks in and he spins around and starts yelling at him. And that's why the kid is so incredibly distraught, because his buddy is screaming at him now. So it just goes to the brilliance of Gene Wilder making things. So since this is going to be poking and moving wood and stuff, I'm not going to do a real fine point. I'm going to leave it a little bit chunky so it doesn't bend or break on him when he's moving and stuff. So now I'll just make it round again. And then we'll fold it over and weld. And then do a little bit of shaping and it'll be done. I'll hit it with a wire wheel, clean it up. I'll seal the handle a little bit, and then bada bang. I don't even know how long we've been doing that. Oh, we've only been at it for like an hour?
Yeah, hour 15.
Wow. I hear somebody tromping around outside. Our director's back. Quick, act like you're doing stuff. The boss is back. So now we're just gonna make square things round. Okay, so Brittany likes to make pasta. And I came across this silly picture that was like wet the dry pasta. And while I was just making this round bar that's square back to round, it feels like that's what blacksmithing is. Take the round thing, make it square, make it round. It's just transferring back and forth between the two states. Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth.
Sounds like another good blacksmithing t-shirt.
Yeah, make the round square, make the square round. But let's not mention the other t-shirt idea until it's already printed and on the shop. I'm very excited about that idea.
Me too. That'll be good.
It's going to be great. Say what?
You get a little scale?
It's so dumb. My handle hit my phone in my pocket and it pushed my hammer off, and I didn't hit where I was trying to hit.
And that was so one thing that with the cricket that Jeff showed me yesterday, and I kind of had a chance to dig into it a little bit today, is like people can make their designs public, and it essentially will show you exactly what they made, show you all the components and stuff that you need to cut to get the same sort of design. So there's not a lot of blacksmithing stuff on there, but there's some that I can finagle with it.
Yeah, the stuff you were showing me today, there's definitely some potential there.
Yeah. There will be lots of prototypes, and I mean, it'll be a while for shirts, mostly just because the heat press situation.
Yeah, we're gonna have to get a heat press for that.
This heat press is great to run this stuff down. What's it up? And it was like 400 or something.
Yeah, I'm gonna do a couple of heats to make that round more round. I took that square up much farther than I needed to do because I thought I was doing a different type of. So there's a different type of fire poker that some like to do. I'm not a big fan of it, but you fold it over into a loop and forge weld it to itself, and then you cut the loop in half. You make one side pointy, and then you bend the other one backwards into the hook. I just don't like that method. I much prefer to make it pointy, fold it over, weld the fold, forge the fold down to a point, and bada bing. So that's what we're doing here. Ooh. We're going to do one more heat on that rounding, and then we'll start doing the others.
So I just had a thought.
Did it hurt?
Most of them do, yeah.
It's like a headache, but with pictures.
I don't.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Rob's asking if you've ever made a sword.
No, I have not made a sword. I think I saw them make those on that Fire Forge TV show or something. They may have made a sword on there.
I'm wondering if you maybe.
I mean, blacksmithing is a dying art, and we do have to keep it alive. So that's why I'm trying to do quasi-pseudo blacksmithing here.
He also says his great grand nanny was a blacksmith. Sorry.
Did she know my great-great-grandfather? Because he was one too.
You guys are weird.
I didn't say we were related. I'm just saying my great-grandfather was one too, so maybe he knew his great-grandma. Grandma?
Great-great-grand.
I would say I feel like you forgot a grade in there.
I may have. All right, let's get this hot and fold her over. And go from there.
So my thought was like little brimstone towards me and Dana's for the dogs. Granted, we don't take the dogs anywhere.
To heck with the dogs, I want one.
Just for the dogs.
Just for the dogs? I can't have one? That's rude.
I'm not gonna say that. Never mind.
Have you seen the
I think
picture
it's you
of
away from me.
dogs and cats in Armor? I want to do that.
My best friend had a Christmas one year got like a portrait of my dog in like royal like art. And it's my favorite. I love it. And I think at one point or another it'd be fun to have like the royalty bar portraits of all three of ours. Just like hang them side by side.
I think you're right.
It'd be fun.
They do that for
Already got-
humans too. We should get them of you and I sitting in thrones, and then we could put the dogs and cats on either side of us. Like,
Cammy's already got one.
what we need is to get somebody with a 3D printer and a 3D scanner, and then we could do a whole entire chess set.
I feel like you know somebody that has that. You could make.
I don't know if they have a 3D scanner.
I do have a 3D scanner.
Hey, there we
I
go.
don't know if it'd be effective for what you want to do, but I can certainly try.
You are very trying.
Yeah. Every time I open my mouth.
What are we giggling about, Mr. Levi?
So Rob says, "Ooh, you're going to Forge Weld that. Does that mean we'll get a hammer flip?"
No.
Just so everybody is clear on where I'm at, 24% battery, but that should still last us.
You're at 24% battery?
I'm not gonna lie, I very much so forgot that I'm in charge of cameras. Because we haven't done this in a couple weeks and my brain has been all over the place.
Are you lightning cable or are you USB-C?
USB-C.
Can you... That cable should reach over there if you take it off the table and to the floor. We don't have a lot longer to go, so I'm just making this enough. We lose audio. What'd you do?
I touched something.
Well, stop touching things.
Well, I mean, you can just blame it on me.
There we go. It's back.
Hammer flip.
Okay, you basically asked for that.
Oh, I like I said before we shot that, they said it's gonna look really cool and we're gonna get a lot of views on it. But all my blacksmithing friends who are real blacksmiths are gonna make fun of me. I don't think I'll ever live that video down.
Nor should you.
I take that much farther, it's going to get much too big. Plus, it's poking wood, so it doesn't need to puncture it.
So you can really see where you were at when you brought it up to the camera.
So, yeah, we're going to get that hot, clean it, flex it. I don't know if my fire is welding temp. Yeah, my fire can do a little bit. And then we'll weld it. And then reshape the hook itself. And then we'll pretty much be done with the whole thing here.
Put that wherever you want.
My shop. I'm gonna roast that flux over the fire a little bit, get it nice and glassy.
Be cool if you could get a camera that's like maybe just clicks on pictures so I can shoot them.
Yeah, I've considered that. So
Like, how do you grade that?
the camera and the software, well, the software more so, I guess, is designed to do a maximum of 3 cameras. And when I bought them, I didn't think I would need a third. I just wanted a me camera and an anvil camera. But I think you're right. I think it may be nifty to get a third camera and set it over here
What do you
on the
mean?
fire.
Or even above you, looking into the fire.
Oh,
Because like you can do a zoom and it can
sure.
focus. Because you saying like make it look glassy, people aren't necessarily going to understand what you mean by that.
You're right, and I can't show you that now.
Yeah.
Plus, it'd be fun to have a picture. That way, when you're standing here talking to us, we can have a picture of the metal in the fire.
Yeah, you're not wrong. It's just another $190 or so for a camera. So now what I'm doing is I'm just getting this up to forge welding temperature. Which means to say that you want your coals to be white, hot, and then you get your metal, you try to do it slowly. Oh, my hair up too high. You want it to get to where you can't see the metal in the fire because it's all white. And if you pay close attention, you'll start to see a green hue in the flame, which is what I'm getting now. And that lets you know you're in the ballpark at forge welding temperature and you're almost there. So what I'm doing is basically just doing this back and forth so both sides come up relatively evenly. And then when it disappears into the white behind it, then I'll know that we're ready. And I'll bring it out and give it a couple of taps and then right back in. And that creates our forge weld. I'm almost there right now. I'm going to give it just a couple more seconds. If you're on camera 1, you might want to switch to camera 2. I think they're about there. So you can see that that's white hot. And I'm just giving it some love taps to massage that into a weld. You want to keep that temperature up, so you just give it a couple of whacks. And yeah, that's how she works. So I usually do at least 2 to make sure the weld sits and it's good. The way I view it, right or wrong, Rob, you're welcome to correct me on this because you know better than I do. But I usually like to do 1 to kind of tack weld it together, get it stuck. And I like to do a second one to kind of solidify it and make it right. And then like the third one is just to kind of clean it up a little bit. But once I get it welded, any work I do to make it more round or whatever has to be done at the forge welding temperature or it'll blow apart. Much like the things I did on the last stream that blew apart. So I went way too long on that, but that was just because I was just working that tip, trying to get us back to pointy. That looks welded, but I'm going to do one more just to make sure. And then one more heat to reshape the hook. And then we'll pretty much be done with it for now before she has her date with the grinding wheel to clean up any scale or rough spots. There are times where I wish I could just reach in there and like flick the coal out of the way so I could see. But I know that would be a very poor idea. And most of the time, you want like a big beehive type nest built up so it maintains all that heat and keeps the air out. But then it's harder to see. So that's why I'm doing it this way. Make sure she's good. Clean it up a little bit, make it rounder.
Rob is seeming shocked that you're going to grind anything.
What was that?
Rob seems shocked that you're going to grind anything. He says forwards to finish / unsubscribe.
Rude. Well, I'm sorry to be such a disappointment, Rob. I'll try to do better. I mean, I'm not reshaping it with a grinder. I'm just hitting it with a wire wheel to clean it up and make it look nice. So I think that weld is set. It looked right to me. But we'll find out here in a second when I get it hot and reshape that barb on it. So we'll just have to see.
He also says that he needs a production crew. Changing cameras himself is BS. So I told him to let us know when.
He live streams at like weird hours of the day, like 11:30. Rob is live. Like, hey, what's going on? It's like he'll be sitting in his basement smoking a cigar with a 3D printer in the background, like noodling around on his guitar. Like, all right. And then like 2 hours later, he's in the shop and he's got the power hammer going. It's like, how did you get out there so fast? But I do love watching his live streams. His when I worked at the last shop I was at, I won't say the name, but it was embarrassing to work there. They did everything wrong. Well, that's unfair. They did things right if it was like 2002. But the meetings were so boring and just useless. So I used to bring up Rob's live stream and he was playing his guitar and let that play in the background while I was paying attention to the meeting. But I was mostly just listening to Rob play his guitar. Jesse, what did you think about that meeting earlier? Well, I don't know. I think maybe we should have another discussion about it, or do you have any documentation on that? Like, I don't know what the heck was going on there. This is ridiculous. Oops. You know what? That's not gonna work. So let's. I thought I had enough of an opening there. I could just bring it over the horn and pull it out, but got the old bending fork here. Let's see if it's small enough to get done.
He says he'll be doing forging streams on a regular schedule again soon, unless it's like 20 degrees outside. Wednesdays, 8 p.m.
Wednesdays at 8. All right.
Just for future reference, you are going to be doing that again. Move your hammer.
Oh.
It's hard to see it over the hammer.
That wasn't really worth. Stay on camera one real quick. So all I did there, if you recall, that barb was down. I just grabbed a hold of it and kicked it out a little bit. So now we're going to get this hot again, and I'm going to come over the horn and lay it back down so it's hooky. And then that barb right there, I might bend it up just for fun, just to add some texture to it. So that's where we're at.
Yeah,
But
it's just hard to see it with the hammer laying on the horn.
The blacksmithing part took over. It's like, oh, I need to bend that here. This part fell off. So yeah, I don't know if Rob wants me to say his last name because that's how you get to his live stream. Well, it's Sharp Bend Forge on YouTube, but I don't know if he's going to be doing it on Instagram or Facebook. So Rob, you're obviously still listening. throw a link in the chat of where you'll be streaming. I don't want to say your last name and dox you or something. So yeah, throw it in the chat, buddy.
He says if it's cold, he might just stay inside the basement and play guitar.
Which, holy shit, guys. Listen to him play the guitar. It's incredible. It sounds so good. He did a show, he and his band, that I'm blanking on the name of right now. I can see the hoodie that he has, and I just can't think of the name. But they did a live show, seriously, 5 minutes down the road, and I was out of town that weekend, and I couldn't go to it. I was pretty mad. All right, let's reshape this barb here real quick. That turned out not terrible, which is nice. Definitely gonna visit the wire wheel on this to clean up some of that stuff. Are we still on 2?
Yep.
So there we go with the barb part. Handle part. Go to 1. So you can see the full length there. Handle is in line with the barb. So old cousin Joey Jojo. It's got a pretty small end on it. So it's smaller than the traditional. So he should be able to, so bada bing, there we go. How long has the live stream been going on, Brittany? What's the timer say?
We're almost at 1:40.
1:40, not bad. So Firepoker inside of 2 hours. Ain't bad.
It took me like 8 hours. To be
But
mine.
to be fair, the piece you were working on was much chunkier.
She was thick.
It was at least, I think it was an inch piece. So it was 4 times the size of this one. So also, did you guys know there's a fan on that so it blows the heat out? It's that rocker switch right by Brittany's hand, just above it.
No,
That-
that would have been nice.
So yeah, here's our Firepoker here. It was really awesome, Rob. I appreciate you hanging out for most of the stream here, or if you're popping in and out. Really appreciate that. So yeah, here's our Firepoker. All nice and pretty and stuff. You know, it might be nice for the thumbnail. If you can, you hit that real quick on camera too. I'll step out of the shot.
I want to try something real quick. So stay out.
Yeah, I'll stay out of the shot.
Rob says he owns rifles and a backhoe. He's not worried about anyone coming out his way.
But yeah, if you can still hear me, Shark Ben Forge, check it out on the YouTubes. Again, I just don't want to say his last name. Like, so Rob, you can say your own last name if you want to. Feel free to plug any.
I mean,
Links
one
that you want.
comments in the chat it has his name, so.
But what's his name look like in the chat?
So just
Rob Q.
Yeah.
Huff. So yeah, find him on Instagram, Rob Huff. That's where he live streams a lot of the time. Find him on the Instagram. You can find him through my Instagram, Brimstone Forge US. So he follows me, so you should be able to follow him that way. But yeah, definitely check out his stuff. It's awesome. While I'm at it, DB_Forge on Instagram is incredible. Coyote Co. Is that what it is? Iron Co. Coyote Iron Co. From the Mold, and of course Daniel's Real Estate. He's got a big fancy open house going on in New Palestine, Indiana on Sunday. So find him on the old Facebook and go check out his open house and tell him I sent you.
Sure.
Shark Ben Forge, we've been talking about that. That's Rob Huff. And then, of course, Custom Blacksmithing in Atlanta, Indiana. That's where we all hang out on Thursday nights. So show up on a Thursday night. We're getting started on this really rad project. That's a very lofty project, and I'm excited to be a part of it. but it's going to be a difficult project. But show up on a Thursday and be like, hey, I'm new, I want to try this. We'll go grab a forge in the corner and I'll show you how to make some stuff. I know there's no tutorials on the internet, especially on this channel, on how to make chain link, but I'll show you how to do that if you want to learn how to weld. But I think that's it. We got ourselves a Firepoker, and got our plugs in. Had some fun conversation along the way. I think we're about ready to wrap her up. From the comment section, any more chats that we need to address before we bring her on down?
No, he just says, Rob says he doesn't typically stream to Instagram simply because Instagram's a pain in the butt to stream to.
Yeah. So Sharp Bin Forge on the YouTubes is probably where you'll find them, because YouTube is way easier than Instagram. Instagram, get your shit together. Come on, what the hell? So from the Peanut Gallery here, you guys, any comments, shout outs? Cool.
No.
All right, kids. Well, we're going to go ahead and shut her down. So again, of course, check out brimstoneforge.us. That'll get you to the TikToks and the YouTubes and the Etsy. And there's something else on there that I'm Instagram. So yeah, check out brimstoneforge.us. And the fun thing is, if you order something from me, you might get to watch me make it before I ship it to you. So anyways, we'll see you next week. Same forge time, same forge channel.